Silver is the second most popular precious metal after gold, and it's also one of the most popular investments for inflation. Silver is also known as the poor man's gold, and there is a reason for that. It's cheaper, it's more widely available, it's more commonly used. People first used silver as a currency more than 5,000 years ago. To this day, they still buy it to conserve their hard-earned wealth. The questions we want to answer in this video are simple. Is silver a viable investment in 2023? What prices can investors expect to see this year? To answer these questions, we are looking at two things: the forecasted supply and demand, followed by some price predictions and technical analysis. I don't want to waste any time because this is a very interesting topic, so let's jump right in. Like with any other commodity, the best thing to look at when you are trying to predict and forecast the price of silver is the supply and demand. How much silver is required this year, and how much silver is actually produced? The best way to answer this is to go to the Silver Institute. What precious information about silver can we see there? First of all, we can see that the demand for silver in industry is expected to increase in 2023 by 2.5%. This is mainly because of electric vehicles and green infrastructure. In case you're not familiar, silver is widely used in solar panels, electric vehicles, semiconductors, other electronics, medicine, water purification, and so on. There are so many applications for silver, and this is really one of the biggest reasons why we want to invest in silver. It is simply essential for the future of humanity. However, demand for silver in jewelry and silverware is expected to slow down this year. Demand for silver as a physical investment is also expected to slow down, probably because we've seen big drops in the savings rate in the US, UK, and the rest of the world. These slowdowns are reflected in the overall silver demand too. We are currently looking at about 7% drop in silver demand in 2023 to about 1.15 billion ounces. On the bright side, this is still the second highest silver demand on record. Even more importantly, it is expected to be the third year of silver deficit. The deficit was much bigger last year, standing at about 200 million ounces as compared to this year's forecast of 119 million ounces. 119 million ounces is still huge though, almost 10% of the entire demand. These figures aren't that accurate and there will be some fluctuation, but even a deficit of 100 million ounces will be huge. The biggest variable here really is the retail demand for jewelry, silverware, actual silver bars and coins. We've seen really big jumps in these over the last 2 years. We've seen movements like Wall Street Silver on Reddit, which has almost 239,000 followers right now. A lot of people in Western countries are buying silver because they are worried about the value of their currency. And in all fairness, they should be, given the inflation we have seen. However, the biggest driver for both silver and gold is India. Depending on how the economy does in India this year, we may either see another boost in silver demand or a drop, so it may be a good idea to keep an eye on the Indian economy. In terms of silver production, we will continue to see an inability to meet demand. There have been new silver mines opened in Mexico, and there have also been higher outputs in other mines in Chile. However, these have been partially offset by some mines in Peru, temporarily shutting down because of civil unrest. Despite that, silver mine production is actually forecasted to rise about 5% to 873 million ounces. There is also a small increase in silver recycling, by about 3%, although the Silver Institute has not provided the exact value. More importantly though, it looks like we are slowly beginning to deplete our global silver reserves. They stood at only 3.4 billion at the end of 2021, after a 4% drop during that year. At the same time, total identified silver resources, excluding reserves, increased by only 1% in 2021. I don't really have data for what happened in 2022, I think that report comes out after a couple of months. However, it does seem like demand is increasing faster than both supply and identified reserves. If I was to look objectively at this data about silver supply and demand, it seems really obvious that we have some bullish pressures here. Again, 2023 will be the third consecutive year of silver deficit. The thing about precious metal supply, you can't just magically create more out of thin air. Mining projects take a long time to develop, and we are approaching a bit of a perfect storm for silver when it comes to underinvestment in mining combining with a push towards greener economies. The same can actually be said about copper, but that's a topic for another video. Now, let's look at the price predictions. The price of silver actually started 2023 very strong. Initially, it traded at $24, before briefly hitting a high of $24.6, then dropping in February, to the current price of about $21.6 per ounce. The Silver Institute is expecting to see average silver prices of $23 for the full year. That's conservative and reasonable. Their arguments point to a combination of lower inflation and higher interest rates, combined with a slowdown in industrial activity. Like I said, there is a big demand for silver in industry, so a recession will negatively impact the price, simply because the demand will be lower. In fact, some analysts predict a possible drop to $18, which is definitely possible. We have very strong support levels there from before COVID and from the second half of 2022. In case of a bearish scenario, we can very likely hit those levels of about $18. If we do, silver will be an extremely strong buy in my books. So that's the pessimistic bearish scenario. What about the optimistic bullish one? We can see a few possible price targets there, ranging from very conservative to very optimistic. First of all, we have the $24 resistance level, followed by $25.8, followed by the $28.2. If we break out of those, we could see the highs we hit in August 2020 and February 2021 of $30. If we do that, then we will be looking at prices we saw during the Great Financial Crisis in the 80s of $35 and more. Now, if you follow my videos, you probably know that I like to be conservative when estimating prices. I really hate it when analysts throw out these incredible high valuations that do not reflect reality at all. I find it very annoying and misleading, I really do. However, it is really hard not to see the massive price potential for silver here. Plus, I know that $35 seems a long way from the current 21.6, but it is absolutely achievable. Silver is a lot more volatile than gold, and when silver goes up in price, it can literally spike up. One of the most recent examples is the 3 weeks between 17th of July and 7th of August 2020. In just 21 days, silver prices jumped by 56%. If you open the one-day graphs for silver and go back over the last 20 or 30 years, you will see a lot of examples of 15% jumps over a week. We see plenty of daily jumps of 5 or 6% whenever some major news come up. What I'm trying to say is that it is definitely possible for silver to spike up to $35 if it starts another strong bullish run. In fact, I think in the absolute best case scenario for silver prices, we can see prices hitting the previous high of $48–49. So, we looked at both bearish and bullish silver price scenarios. What does the technical analysis say right now though? The one thing we can tell is that we saw a quadruple bottom last year, before silver prices rallied up from just above $18 to $24. Right now, we are seeing a retesting of support levels around $21.5. If these break, silver prices are probably going to drop down to $18 again. Unfortunately, we are seeing a possible dead cross on the weekly charts for silver, with the 50-day moving average closing in on the 200-day moving average. We could see the 200-day moving average solidify the support here, but that will become obvious over the next few weeks. If we look at the daily chart, things look slightly better, no death cross. Traders like to say that the trend is your friend, but unfortunately, we do not have a clearly established trend here. I think we may be seeing a potential cup and handle pattern forming, but the signals are a bit mixed. We can see an oversold relative strength index, so that could indicate prices may stabilize or correct upwards over the next week or two, but I can't really say that for certain. To be honest, I think we're seeing a bit of price weakness in silver here, and my gut instinct tells me that we will probably see cheaper silver prices over the next few months. The good thing here is that the support level of $18 is extremely strong, and I don't think we will fall anywhere under $17.5 for the rest of the year. Instead, it is likely that there will be a prolonged accumulation at those price levels. Perhaps the prices will bounce up and down a bit, retest $18 a few times, but I think silver will eventually kick off a strong bullish rally in the second half of 2023. So, that's all from me for today. What do you think? What silver prices are we going to see in 2023? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and I will talk to you again soon.